My name's Kimberly. Welcome to my kitchen. In this video, I want to show you how I make Greek yogurt at home using simple kitchen tools. Nothing fancy, not a yogurt machine or anything like that. But first, I want to answer the question why I make my yogurt at home, why I prefer to do it that way. Now, where I live in northern Ecuador, yogurt is readily available in the local stores, but the type of yogurt that's most popular here is not the type that I prefer. It's more of a drinkable yogurt, very high in sugar and already pre-sweetened with various fruits. And what I would like to have is just a plain thick yogurt like this Greek yogurt that I purchased. But this little package, which I think it's about 6, maybe 8 ounces, cost me about $1.33 with tax. And I can make it at home a lot cheaper, and then it won't have any preservatives or any added sugar. My favorite way to enjoy my yogurt is with frozen blueberries and honey. So let's get started. So first, let's talk about the ingredients I'll be using today. You'll need some milk. Now you can use different types of milk, but this is what I've purchased for today's project. This was on sale. And what I'm going for this batch is 6 quarts. This won't quite make up 6 quarts, so I'm going to add a little bit of this to top it off. And then you're going to need sugar. For each quart of milk, you're going to need a 1/4 cup of sugar, and it can just be plain white sugar. Vanilla is optional. If you were going to use this yogurt in any kind of a savory application, you wouldn't want the vanilla. And maybe you don't like vanilla, so you can leave it out, but I'm going to be adding a little bit. And then you're going to need a culture. So when I have made yogurt in the past on a regular basis each week, I've saved a little bit of my batch of yogurt to use as a culture for the next batch. And you can certainly do that. But since I haven't made any yogurt recently, I've had to purchase a culture. I usually look for something that's just plain natural yogurt that's not been flavored or sweetened. But the most important thing is it needs to be an active live culture. So this one says that it has probiotics that are live, and so that will work. So I've got my 6 quarts of milk here in my pot, and I measured into here 1.5 cups of sugar, so that's a 1/4 cup of sugar per quart. And now the next step is to get it onto the stove to heat it. So while I'm warming up this milk, I'm also warming up my oven because I'll be incubating this yogurt overnight in the warm oven. So the temperature that we're aiming for here is 110 Fahrenheit or about 43 Celsius. Now, if you have a kitchen thermometer, feel free to use it. I've made yogurt enough times that I'm comfortable doing it without a thermometer. So what I was taught how to do this is to use my little finger and put it in the warm milk. It should feel warm, but I should be able to hold it there to a count of 10. And it's still a little too hot, so I'm going to let that cool off a bit. Now, if I was starting with raw milk, I would need to raise it to a higher temperature first to kill any bacteria and then lower that temperature. But this milk was fresh out of the package. I don't feel like I need to heat it high enough to pasteurize it. I just want to warm it to the right temperature that it will be able to culture the yogurt bacteria, but I don't want it so hot that it will kill the bacteria. So I'm going to take this off the heat. While I'm waiting for it to cool down to the right temperature, I can go ahead and add my vanilla now. I'm just going to eyeball this. Again, the vanilla is completely optional, but I put about that much for this quantity of yogurt. I'm also going to get my culture ready. I'm doing here is I'm going to put this culture in a bowl, and rather than just add it straight to the hot milk, I want to gradually warm up this yogurt. We have to remember this yogurt is full of live cultures. We don't want to shock them or kill them or frighten them. So I'm going to get them used to the warmth by warming them up gradually by adding some of the milk in here and stirring it up. This will also help this yogurt to fully dissolve, because we want the yogurt culture to fully saturate the milk and not be in little clumps throughout. Okay, that's at the right temperature now. So I'm going to start adding some of this to the yogurt and mix it in, just a little at a time. But I do want to work quickly because I don't want the milk to cool down too much. I used to do this with a little wire whisk, but my wire whisk broke. But that works really great for breaking up the yogurt and getting it thoroughly mixed with the milk. So if you have one, feel free to use it. I've got that yogurt really well dissolved now in this warm milk. So I think I'm ready to add it to the whole pot now. Okay, I'll give that a good stir. Now's a good time to go ahead and turn off my oven. So that's warmed up a little bit. Okay, I've got the yogurt culture mixed in well with the milk, and now I'm just ready to put the lid on. And I'm going to wrap it in a couple of towels here. It's important at this stage that you turn your oven off. You don't want to leave your oven on all night. So I'm just going to wrap it up in one towel. And then in another towel, just like that. And now all I'm going to do is put it in the oven. Now I've removed my upper rack from the oven so this big pot will fit in here. My oven's nice and warm, but not hot. And I'm going to let that sit overnight. It should probably stay at least 8 hours, and I think you could leave it anywhere from about 8 to 12 hours. I don't really time it, but in the morning I'll take it out and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's been about 10 hours since I put the yogurt in the oven. So let's pull it out now and see what we've got. It's always exciting opening it up, and a little bit maybe intimidating too. You wonder if it's going to work, but I've never had a failure yet. So let's see. It still feels a bit warm. And we have yogurt. Look at that. Oh, it's just beautiful, really thick. Now, if you want to consider this done, that's perfectly fine. This is just what you call yogurt. And this is the consistency of the yogurt that I would typically buy in Alaska before Greek yogurt really became popular and was readily available. Now, I like to take the next step that turns this into Greek yogurt, and it involves straining it to get out some of the extra liquid. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I have this other pot that has a steamer basket. I found it works really well for straining my yogurt. And I also have this food bag. And what I do is I put the yogurt into here, into the food bag. It's a little tricky getting it started, but it's worked really well for me. So I'm actually going to get something else. I need a bigger scoop. Okay. It even smells good. I smell that little bit of vanilla. It can be helpful at this point to have a second pair of hands, but I don't this morning. Okay, now close up this bag. It fits perfectly in here. So you probably already see the liquid dripping out of it. So I'll leave this sit for a few hours and come back and check it later. When it stops dripping, then I'll know it's ready. I'll remove a lot of the liquid, probably half of the volume or possibly more will come out in the liquid, but I'll be left with a nice thick Greek yogurt, just like I like it. So it's been a few hours. I just got back from the gym, actually about an hour and a half since I put this in here. Let's see how much it's gone down. You see that? How it's draining? And I can see I've got more than an inch of liquid here in the bottom. So there's one important step that I forgot earlier, and I want to make sure I do it now. It's not essential to the process, but if I want to make another batch soon, I'd rather reserve some of my own as starter instead of having to go to the store and purchase a starter. So I'm going to open this up and save a little bit in reserve. And that will be enough to start a new batch in maybe a week or so. But I want this to continue draining a little longer and thicken up a bit more. I can still hear it dripping, so I know there's more liquid that can drain off. I usually get maybe about 3 inches or so in this pot, so we'll leave it till later. Okay, it's been about 5 hours now since that the yogurt has been straining. And let's take a look at it. I think I'm going to be happy with it now. You can see it's gone down a lot. I do still hear a little bit of dripping. Let's see. You can see all this liquid that's come out of the yogurt. Now, this won't go to waste. This is called whey, and it's very nutritious. There's a lot of different things that you can do with the whey. In fact, you can use this as a starter culture to make your next batch of yogurt. You can also use it in baking or other fermented foods. But what I want to use this for today is I want to use it around my blueberry plants to help nourish them and acidify the soil. So this will not go to waste. Now the amount of time that you strain your yogurt is up to you. You can strain it longer. You could put it overnight in the refrigerator and strain it a lot, even twisting the bag and squeezing out the whey, and you could end up with a yogurt that's so thick it's almost like a cream cheese. Once that happened to me almost by mistake. I used a different variety of milk that Larry bought at the farmer's market, and it made a yogurt so thick that I used it to make a pie, a cream pie. I made a crust similar to a graham cracker crust and put the yogurt in there and then topped it with some fruit, like strawberry or blueberries that were cooked down with some sugar, and it was really delicious. So this is kind of the tricky part, is getting it out of the bag. Let's see, I haven't done this in a while. How do I do this? This yogurt will thicken up more as it sits in the refrigerator. This is a nice Greek yogurt, so I'm gonna have to get another bowl to get the rest of this out of here. But I'm happy with this yogurt. It's just that easy. I look forward to eating it. So here's what we ended up with. This is a lot of yogurt. And I figure the total cost for making this yogurt was about $8. Now, if I was starting this from my own reserved yogurt culture, that would be even less, because I told you I paid about $1.33 for that little container of yogurt that I purchased from the store. So that would not be an expense I'd have the next time I make it. So this yogurt, you can enjoy this just as it is. It's mildly sweet, or you could enjoy it with some fresh or frozen fruit. You could put it in smoothies. You could also stir in some jam. I have some homemade strawberry rhubarb jam, and that would be really delicious. My favorite way to have it is with frozen blueberries and then drizzled in honey. I'm fresh out of honey right now. This is one of my favorite foods. This will keep in the fridge for at least a week. It doesn't usually last us longer than a week, but I imagine it would still be safe to eat much longer than that. So making your own yogurt does take a little bit of time. It can take 10 to 16 hours from start to finish, but the actual hands-on time where I was working on it was pretty minimal. I'd say certainly less than an hour. And now I have all of this yogurt. I know what's gone into it. I have the satisfaction of making it myself, and it was at a considerable savings. So there you go. That's how I make yogurt. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed learning with me. If you liked this video, I hope to be making some others. I have several others that are on YouTube right now that you can go and watch and look for my future videos. Thank you.